Mero online TV.
Good afternoon, everybody. Distinguished guests who have traveled here from abroad. Welcome to Nepal. We wish you a very pleasant stay here. It's absolutely a pleasure. I must confess, when Tenzing contacted me a few weeks back, matter of fact, I absolutely had no idea. I was clueless about this program. But then as he provided me with the details and said that this is going to be the first international peace and humanity conference here in Kathmandu, that instantly grabbed my attention, because peace and humanity, like the princess just mentioned, and Rinpoche just mentioned, is something that we need a lot. And those are the things that is eroding in today's world. And I personally always, whether it be in my private life, my professional life, knowingly or unknowingly throughout my life, I always held moral in very high priority. You know, they meant immensely to me in whatever I was doing, whether I was living a life as a person or... Because no matter what you do in life, if you do not just concentrate on who you are, but you give more attention to the aspect of why you are what you are. Because most of us, what we intend to do is, do you know what I do? Do you know who I am? I am such and such person, doing what I'm doing. No matter what you're doing in life, businessmen, actors like me, people involved in politics, if we concentrate on why we have become what we have become, then I think the humanity in us will surface more. Because if we just concentrate on what I am and who I am, then the ego surfaces more. But if you give a thought of why you have become whatever you have become in your profession, then the humanity aspect comes out. And when the humanity aspects comes out, compassions follow, and your sense of empathy rises as well. And that's what I've been doing in my profession as an actor as well. Matter of fact, in acting profession, you know, the biggest tool that you need to have is the sense of empathy, more than anything else. When people ask me, you know, how can we become an actor? You know, what are the basic trainings to be an actor? I said, the most important premise that you can start off from is to have a great sense of empathy. Because when you do so many roles, you cannot actually live the life of all these roles. But you have the sense of empathy. If you can put yourself in other people's shoes and see things from their aspects, feel the feelings that they're going through, with your high sense of empathy, then you can perform several roles as an actor. And this is what I always strive to do in my films. Because in a film scenario in Nepal is probably slightly different from the kind of film scenarios in other countries in the world. When I started off about 30 years ago, by the way, I'm only 25, but I've been in the movie industry for 30 years, so you do your maths. So when I started off 30 years ago, we were hardly making any films. And when I did my first film, and it was received so well, what I sensed, what I learned from that film, my very first film, when people received it so well, and we were very raw those days, you know, here in Nepal in making films, what I sensed is, people here, instead of looking at the technicality of the film, the presentation of the film, what they really look for is the human aspects in the story of the film, in the characters of the film. Whether they can relate to that character or not in the human ground, knowingly or unknowingly, whether they can identify with the emotions that the story is portraying, whether they can identify with the emotions that the actor's character is portraying, And that is what draws the audience to the movie theater. And I realized that right from my first film. And from the second film onwards, my main concentration was always, no matter what kind of film I was in, you know, I've been in good, bad, and ugly films, but my main concentration was, how can I reach to the common people through my characters, through my stories, more than concentrating on how I can present this well, or how I can, you know, make it a very polished films. I just attacked it very rawly, and I said, no matter what kind of presentation and technicality and what kind of director's, you know, level is, what I'm going to do is through my characters and the story, I'm going to reach out to the people. And that's what really clicked. And today I'm so happy and so proud that after 30 years of being in this scenario, in this film, more than the fan and the artist relationship, what I have with my audience is like one of the families. I travel extensively within Nepal. I go to the mountains, I go to the east, I go to west, I go to the Tarais. And the way people welcome me, not as an actor, not as a fan, not as a crazy fan, but the way they welcome me as a member of their own family. And that is very important to me. That is something that I cherish a lot. And that is all because of trying to touch the human side of people. Because the humanity is the only thing that we all have in common denominator. It's only by concentrating on the human aspects of us where we can find a common bondage, where we can unify us, where we can see our fellow human being as ourselves, and thus arises compassion. Otherwise, if we look for differences and we forget the most common aspect that exists in all of us, if we put that in the back seat, then what do we see? We only see the differences in us. And the differences appear in so many respects. It appears in our appearance, it appears in our mannerism, it appears in our languages, it appears in the way we do things, go about in daily chores. So many differences. But if we put that aside and start looking at the human aspects of all of us, then what do we see? We see that we are all one. And if we concentrate on the human aspects of ourselves, that is the only way we can unite the entire humanity together, irrespective of where we live, what we do, what religion we follow, what languages we talk, or what kind of appearances we have. That will not matter at all. So humanity is the utmost importance, and that is the only way that can sustain a humankind for a long, long, long run. Otherwise, at the end of the day, what is going to happen is we're just going to be at each other's throat. Even when we're doing good things, because our good things is just concentrated on a particular community. It's very rarely that our good things, whatever good things we do in different parts of the world, is universal. So even to protect our good things, it's an irony, to protect our good things, we intended to be violent against the other person, or the other group, or the other community. Because what we're thinking is, it's only what we are doing is good, so in order to protect our good, we must be ready to do anything. So if we forget this humanity aspects of us, which is the only factor that can unite us and keep us together, even the goodness that we do will still be at each other's throat. In order to protect our religion, we'll be against the other person's religion. In order to protect our kind, we'll have to be against the other kind. So there will always be this tribalism existing, and we always will be in confrontation with one another. So it's only after putting that thing aside and concentrating on our humanness, on our kindness, on our ability to see other people as ourselves, irrespective of where they come from, is the only way we can reach perfect harmony in humanity, I think. And that is the only way that we can have a peaceful existence as well. And I couldn't agree more with the princess. You know, there's an economical disparity in the society. One section of the people are constantly dissatisfied, hunger, and destitute. There is no way we can attain peace. Because the basic needs of humanity has to be fulfilled in order to preach and practice peace and humanity. If a person is hungry, he's ready to kill another person for food. Just a simple fact is food. You will see people killing another person for nominal amount of money. I've known cases in a very great country, developed country like America, where people have actually killed another person for, forget about $10, $1. So this will just exist. And that is not because he is fond of killing another person for $1. But that $1 will buy his needs. And his needs always comes in the front. So unless his basic needs are not met, there will always be disturbance. There will always be violence. So it is very important, especially the other section of the society who claim to have, to take care of their brothers who don't have. If you want to maintain peace, if you want to create a sense of humanity universally, and this is where philanthropy comes in, compassion comes in, kindness comes in. Otherwise, the tribalism will always exist, and as long as people are divided in different tribes, peace and humanity can go down the drain, That is something that we cannot attain at all. So it is wonderful to be here. Let us all strive for peace, humanity, be compassionate, have sense of empathy for one another, and that is the only way to sustain the human race. I have tried my level best. I don't know. I don't claim that I have succeeded a great deal, but in my day-to-day life, in my way of reaching out to other people, I always try to apply that, and also through my profession. Because a lot of people think that being in a film, being an actor, you're in a totally different world. No. It's a field where you've got to have a sense of compassion and sense of empathy. So even my profession, humanity aspect is a priority. So thank you very much for inviting me, Rinpoche ji. I like what Rinpoche said just now. He said, this is Peace and Humanity Conference. Everybody be cool, calm, relax. It's not a big deal. So I wish you a very peaceful and calm and cool life. And may you have a wonderful stay here in Nepal. It's a pleasure having you here. And thank you so much for whatever you're doing with the schools and Rinpoche. Thank you so much. Michael Jackson, you rock. You live in Japan. I was in Japan about 2 weeks ago, and it's one of my favorite countries. You guys are so organized, so systematic. Wow. The train, they come at 6:21, and not 6:21, 30 seconds, Thank you. Thank you.